Good morning, folks. So, a continuation upon our earlier video prior to myself ingesting some coffee and enjoying a breakfast sandwich. Uh, I note two things that come to me as I'm rewatching the video. The first of them is it is very imperative as a software developer, software engineering, anything to do with technology in general, uh, that when we look at a problem space, we don't think of it in terms of time. It's difficult for me to get away from that, having been a consultant most of my life, perhaps not a traditional McKinsey consultant, but definitely taking a more law firm approach to having clients working billable hours uh, than not. So when we think in terms of trying to accomplish things and move quickly, writing software, doing software development, I was introduced to a process at a company that I worked for, a rather large organization called Agile. Um, by using Agile, we specify the complexity of a task and we objectify uh, completion of story points. And those points are arbitrary, and there's nothing good or bad. It is merely a reflection of the complexity or level of effort that must be committed to and achieved in order to move the story from to do to in progress to done. So there was an organization I worked for. We had spent quite a bit of money to have uh, this agile process implemented, and we all attended agile training, and we all agreed that we would not log hours actual time against stories. And lo and behold, as the delivery deadline loomed, uh, trying to waterfall something that is agile, uh, we had a directive from corporate uh, to start logging hours against story points. And to that I said, fuck no. And I expressed my displeasure with retreating from a course of action that had been serving us well, that made many deliverables possible. And I believe I logged 2 hours against one story to provide my 2 cents. And it was symbolic. And I did not log any more time against projects. The reason why is time is spongy. Our brains don't necessarily comprehend time as in terms of the metronome. It, yes, we may have a click track, but gosh, time is expansive and time contracts. So I'll give you an example. I believed in the prior video I had been discussing um, agile software methodology and software development lifecycle for approximately 30 minutes, and in fact, it had only been 20. Another fun point was I had indicated that I had about 2.5 hours in on the previous two projects. So we took down the first one being we took down a script and we ran it in an environment that we constructed. The second one we had gone through and we had built this process by which we achieve a reproducible outcome. The same service was put into production bind. However, we achieved it using far fewer brain cycles and far less time. So, looking at the actual video lengths, I compute we had 43, 50, 60, 70, 80 minutes, hour and 20 minutes, so that's 80, 90, 100, 160 minutes, 170, 80, plus 52, so 180 and 52 is 230, so we had approximately 230 minutes So for those of you not capable of doing the math in your head, 230 divided by the calculator. And by this I mean me. It's too early to do this, but 230 divided by 60 is 3.8. So I had estimated that I had 2.5 hours, and in fact, I had 2.83 hours invested in both solutions. Uh, just looking at the video duration, because I live streamed the entire process, I did not cheat. I did not work on it outside of the. I did not work on the deliverable outside of the live stream. So covering this and reviewing my time proves that agile is probably the way to go, because I could have given you accurate complexity ratings for either task that we achieved. However, I could never have accurately predicted the time in which it took. Uh, Again, to point, the 20-minute video presumed to be 30 minutes. It's time is elastic. It's very difficult to time box a task. It's pure focused effort. But we had, like I said, nearly we had nearly 4 hours logged actual time against these two tasks that I had presumed were 2.5 hours. So, in actuality, we have 4 hours in standing up both services. So that only leaves us 4 hours if we were to presume that the script was written in one day and debugged in its entirety and released with inclusive of bugs. We found bugs. So, backtracking a little bit, we're going to go allocate those 4 hours we have remaining compared to our 1 day estimate of 8 hours of effort in writing and composing and debugging that script. We are going to spend 4 hours of real time outside of these two videos, the prior one and this one, which are kind of meta videos where we're explaining the process and methodology in a little bit more with a little bit more clarity than had been provided. I don't believe I talked through most of it. I talked through a little bit at the IU Campus Center because I had the luxury of unmuting and speaking out loud. But when I was laying in the bunk and trying to complete the software task, I definitely did not have the luxury of having an open mic. So now we are going to be able to spend 4 hours on, we're going to build the tool. We're going to do this all from scratch. We're going to build the tooling, install the software required, use the operating system and tools or use the distributions tools, as well as we will produce the reports necessary to provide a reasonable, sane security posture assessment of the software. Again, this is kind of what I did for quite some time. Was worked on either side of the equation, both offensively attacking and writing reports, as well as defensively producing the infrastructure and maintaining the infrastructure. And I've also worked in software development in a code review capacity, especially where we can be our own critics, but sometimes the harshest, the most profound input that we can get is that of our colleagues, from other people. So that being said, I need to. It's 8:20, and I presume it's been about 10 minutes of me. I'm looking at a timer. I found a timer. It's been 10 minutes of me discussing why we did what we're doing, explain to you what we're going to do next. I'm going to go to work. I have multiple jobs to sustain myself. I both work at the place with the walk, and I also work in a theater, a variety of theaters. But I have to work in the theater tonight as well. So afterwards, if I have any energy left, and I doubt it, I will take the time to begin building the tooling for validation of our infrastructure. If not, that will come over the weekend because I believe I have a little bit more free time over the weekend to dedicate to this task. And to reiterate, yes, I do seem to be slamming an individual, throwing one person under the bus. However, it's not the individual, it's the process that I take issue with. The individual is operating within the bounds of their knowledge set, and if they're watching this, they're expanding that knowledge set. Perhaps they're understanding in new light what it is I've been doing for the past decade and how I achieved the results that I was able to obtain. So, that being said, we're in our 11th minute. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I need to get moving both directionally and mentally. I have to get prepared to go stare at a walk for a couple of hours. Um, hopefully, hopefully, I can maintain my good sense of humor and be somewhat joyful. Grateful that I have work, and very grateful that we are back to cooking instead of waiting for the infrastructure that supports the kitchen to be repaired, um, which allowed me to broadcast a little bit yesterday from the IU campus. So, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Few do, very few do. I wish we had more questions because that would create a more lively conversation. There would be a bit more of a dialogue rather than a diatribe. And we know that I can tend to be a little bit on the ranty side in this way. This has been a couple days worth of ranting, either via console or, in this case, via video. But I wish you all a great morning. I hope you have great success in your day. It's 8:23 on the East Coast. I am signing off. Thank you.